Velma, just tell us a little bit of this saying.
You gotta wanna. Well, as I have alluded to, it was something I heard from my mother, who was she's a great manager. She was a teacher, but I think she was a teacher from birth. In other words, she couldn't help it. That would be her. If there were things that we were required to do as we were youngsters growing up, and maybe it needed a little urging or something like that, she might just throw that in. That would be typical, I think, of the teacher side of her, to do it a certain way so you don't know you're getting told. And maybe that would slip in that, well, you kind of want to, you need to want to. But see, we grew up in the Depression. We didn't get that extra education because we did like to eat. If you know what I mean. We went out and got a job. And so there's nothing to tell really, because you didn't have these, if you had aspirations, you just still had to get a job.
So what kept you together, Velma, your family?
What kept it together? The good Lord, I guess. And I would say that almost flippantly, but he did, of course. But two intelligent adults who happened to be my father and mother. And what else were you going to do besides they were devoted to each other?
So Velma, how long have you been walking with the Lord?
Walking with him. You have to remember when I was walking, sitting, standing, running. I can't remember life. I'm not constantly thinking along these lines at all. He's implanted, and I didn't do the planting. And any one of you, I don't know how you feel, what you think, or nothing. It's not your doing.
Right.
I mean, yes, it's all of our doing, whether we consciously say yes or no. And I don't know how many people realize whether they're consciously making that kind of a decision or just drifting one way or the other.
So if you had to leave one last statement to these women, what would it be, Velma?
Love the Lord.
Amen.
I don't know. That's a lot to think about. Love him. You can't manufacture it. Maybe to love him, you better get to know him. And there's only one place I know to do that. Partly, you're doing it in your own head, in quiet, but you have to have a text. And there is one all done. His word. And it is his word.